Okay. Are you good?
I'm good.
I'm good. All right. Are you good?
Let's talk. Let's talk about stuff.
It's August 21st, 2019. Guess who's back?
Yeah.
PartyMike.
It's been a while.
Dude, you're just like, we were going over things that have changed, and everything has changed.
Lots of things have changed. When was our last official podcast? Is it in your library there?
It was, it had to be like April, March.
I haven't done a podcast with you since I've been at BMO, and that was in January.
No way.
Yeah, I started in January,
Dang.
so it was before then when life got super busy. So
because you were my guest on here, that we always talked about sciencey, future-y,
yes,
all those things.
And lots of things have changed since I've been here last. So I guess maybe to catch up
I need to do a big announcement first, real fast.
Please do.
Everybody, guess what? I'm really excited. Hashtag lady friend is now hashtag fiance friend.
If you weren't following along on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or any other social media Greg does.
So that's pretty cool.
Fiance.
Okay, what do you have now?
Well, I guess we're definitely going to talk about that. That's one of the things I want to talk about. So yeah, I've been gone. I've been working 75 plus hours a week.
Ew.
Yeah, I know, right? It's terrible. I went back to banking in January, February of this year because my friend Natalia, she's a manager in Woodstock, and our friend Teresa is the market manager. And they called me in January. I was like, hey, do you want to come back to banking? And I was like, hell no, it's 5 p.m. I'm still wearing my pajamas.
Right.
I'm good. But it was January, and I didn't have an event for 2 months. I was super bored, and it was cold.
And in the Midwest, January through early March, you're just kind of like, what?
It's terrible.
Please just
stop.
Go faster time.
Seriously. So they had me come out, and they gave me a really good offer, and they made some concessions for not having to work Saturday because of my events business and being able to talk about my company, and they let me do that. And
so what's up with, I thought bankers hours were a thing.
I had, it was cool hours. They were literally open from 9 to 5, which is cool, but I had to drive to Woodstock every day. So that equaled 8 hours a week of just drive time, which.
Okay. So you're factoring that into the long work week.
I count that as work. That's not fun.
I agree.
That's work time.
Completely.
So the drive itself wasn't that bad. It took the back roads, but it's still 8 hours a week. That's 32 hours a month of just wasted life.
That's gross.
It's just wasted. So I got used to the drive. I bought the Prius. I got a sweet deal on that, and I got used to banking. And again, I got used to BMO's archaic computer system. Greg, you would not tolerate it. At Chase,
I don't know if you can say this. Is it super insecure? Maybe you don't know the technicalities of how does it present itself as far as security there? Not physical security, but tech.
Oh, as far as for your
computer
own
security.
Personal stuff kind of deal?
No, just in general, because it's been my realization that every place I've gone, with the exception of the place I'm working now, which is wonderful, the people are having just really awful legacy, outstanding security issues that you can't address because they affect the core programs that the company needs to run.
Yeah.
And you can't rip that out. That's called technical debt. You got to pay it off somehow.
Technical debt. That's neat. I guess, honestly, maybe one of the saving graces that BMO has is the fact that their shit runs on host and DOS prompt-based systems.
Yes.
Maybe actually what's keeping it secure, because it literally runs off 1984. I would literally joke with customers, excuse me, I'm going to jump back in time to 1984 to do this very simple thing.
And I bet those systems are air-gapped. They have to get some kind of special way to get in data and get out data, because if they were put on the normal network, they would get hosed so fast.
Well, it's cumbersome at best to finagle your day.
They're all batch processing.
I had 19 different passwords on my phone to do the basic shit.
That's excessive.
It is,
but that's good.
I guess from maybe a hacker standpoint. But
did you have obnoxious passwords? Were they more than 12 characters?
Yeah, they had to be
capital, symbol, upper.
They all cycled, they all made you update them at different times, so you never got used to one, because then you're changing it.
That is actually a worse practice than the current government NIST guidelines. Now they actually released it that you should have one password that is 12 characters, up. No complexity requirements.
What?
Yeah.
Well, like no numbers or special characters.
Do whatever you can remember is basically what they say.
Oh man, that's
so you're not writing it down. It's not in bad places. You're not incrementing a number, and have that expire every 6 months.
Well, you should tell BMO that.
That's the new standard, and I'm pushing that for all my places that I work now. And the thing is, like, that's great. And what you do is you tie that into the 8 billion password database on like haveibeenpwned.com. You can go there and see if you had your stuff leaked. But you just, if someone resets their password, you check against that database. Did they use a crap password? Then don't allow them to set it.
Really?
So you have to validate against 8 billion passwords. But if you can do that, then you get that password for 6 months. So if you do the phrase like micro dog 1098 and no one ever did that.
That's actually my password.
I know. I thought it'd be funny to use as an example. But yeah, if you can do that and it passes that database, then that's perfectly acceptable practice. That passes the audit.
I do like what 10 to 16 characters, caps, special characters, numbers, and they're all unique, and they're all saved in my phone under the
ideally
one password.
You should use a password manager to get in. You do.
I think your brother got me on this.
Oh my god!
I think either you or Mike. I think Mike got me on this.
Hopefully he did. That's great.
I'm pretty sure he did. Because I had 173 passwords currently.
Yeah, it's great.
And I probably used my 25% of them, but it's in here. Before that, I would text myself. Like I have like me, so I could look through my texts, and that worked great until I needed a new phone, and then that was a whole nightmare. That's when I went to this.
Yeah.
So that worked pretty good. But back to the technology piece. Like they have an exit survey. So why did I leave BMO? Okay, well let's finish that up.
Why did you leave?
Why did I leave BMO? And it just became work. I guess, and it just sorting out the public and their money and then all of that. It all came back to me about why I left Chase in the first place. And BMO really served to, focus me again into why I'm doing what I'm doing and to appreciate the freedom I have when I'm able to make my own day again. So I told myself this time when I leave corporate banking, I'm not going to day drink all day. I'm not going to sit around and play video games. I do play video games, but not all day. And I need a plan. The reason I went back is I was bored.
Yeah.
So this time around,
so funny.
I need to have a structure. So I just finished getting my substitute licensing requirements met. And the next step is to go to the Harlem High School and to the Rockford 205 and actually register to substitute teach
sure.
high school. I'm legit. I can actually do that now. There's no actual interview process. It's just, do you have a college degree? Yes. Are you a sex offender? No. Great. You can have a job, basically.
That's pretty good requirements.
So, yeah, I think so, too. So, I'm in there, so that's cool. So that's going to give me something to do during the week.
And that's like a spotty job that you don't have to commit to all the time, right?
It's flexible. There's an app, and it texts me every day and says, hey, here's the jobs available. Do you want to work or not? And there's no minimum.
That's great.
There's no maximum. Like if I don't want to work, I don't work.
That's perfect for you, so you can work on your thing.
I can work on my events as I need to. So that works out really good. And it turns out that there's a dire need for substitute teachers because when the economy is good, there's a lack of substitute teachers. When the economy is bad, there's way too many substitutes. So I'm in a good spot for that. So that's cool. Plus the other part of that, which is what I truly like, is I get exposed to new circles of people and to new ways of doing things and new groups and new social structures and new adults that do their own thing. I'm just going to be around other people. Yeah. And that's a chance to grow and to get to network and just be involved and continue to do new things. I love doing new stuff. I get bored with stuff.
Right.
I worked at O'Reilly's for 6 months. That was cool. I got to meet a bunch of people there that are my buddies now. I have a lifetime discount there. I got to do BMO for 6 months. That's cool. I got to learn what that's all about. And I have friends there now too.
Yeah, keep it interesting, man.
Keep it interesting. Keep it mixed up.
Dude, it's like I've started companies and stuff like that. You reminded me of exactly of it was like 2014. I had been working for myself for 2 or 3 years. And I was like, I'm just so bored.
Yeah.
Because you get less and less work as you keep going. Because you get more efficient with things. You get caught up on things. And then you get more and more time. And you're like, I'm just starting to get bored.
Where I was with Las Vegas.
I went back into a full-time gig. And then still kind of did that. And then it kind of just worked out that I was like, if I ever have to go back, I know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah. That's
right.
what happened with me.
Don't lay on the couch and play 6 hours of a new solitaire game on your phone. And then look at the clock and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
Why am I still wearing yesterday's underwear? What's going on today? Like, and when all your friends work a day job and or are all married or with girlfriends or fiancés now with children, it's like, what are you going to do? So I was like, I got to keep busy. So on top of that, I just got finished starting another company. It's called Mike's Metal Works. And I got my assumed name certificate. I got my business cards ordered. I got my shirts done. And it's all about, again, turning my hobbies into money makers.
Right.
So it's going to be geared towards welding, fabrication, and just spending days in the driveway working on shit. Maybe do some art stuff and try to sell that stuff, which is cool. So
I saw that you got in with a place that's going to like let you do TIG welding.
On top of that, so this is one of my customers from Rock Vegas. Got talking to a guy, and he invited me over to his house with him and his wife, and they got to know him a little bit. And really cool cat. And he owns his own. It's I don't want to say his name or his business, but he has a metal shop in Loves Park, which is right across the street from a shop I go to get my metal, which is really cool. And they focus on TIG welding, stainless steel, like giant water supply stuff. They water filtration stuff. Okay. And that's all hand done. And he has a staff of about four guys. He said one of them's leaving. And I was like, look, man, I can't commit to 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week. I need a flexible schedule. He goes, look, like I can just pay you cash. You can come in. I mean, obviously, I'm going to get W-2.
Well, he's still going to claim it on your
I'm still going to 1099 for sure. But I can come in and work my own schedule. And he's going to let me use his machines, his metal to practice, to learn a skill.
That's great.
That's when I don't got to go buy a TIG welder. I don't got to go buy stainless steel. I don't got to learn how to do it. I can actually learn how to do that in his shop and get paid to do it.
Right.
So that's another thing too. So I can do that for like a day a week. So I got all these things lined up to keep my time busy. I went back to college yesterday, and that lasted for day. That was
I enjoyed reading that on Facebook.
Read my post?
I didn't comment, but I was like,
I put my successes and my failures out there equally to let people know that I'm human and I do.
So you're not going anymore?
You know, I spent today getting my money back and returning books.
Okay.
So I was a little ahead of the gun. So I took chemistry 1 20 years ago, and I got a B or a C, probably a C. And I took chemistry 2 after that, and I dropped it because the teacher was terrible, and I never continued.
Yep.
So I wanted to go back to school, and I talked to the NIU professor about being an actual teacher, like to teach high school, not just substitute teach. And he planned it all out, and I got this plan. I'm like, okay, I'll go back to Rock Valley. I can take, I can take 10 classes there. I can take half my classes at Rock Valley, and then take the physics core at NIU. I'm like, well, I might as well start up with chemistry because I didn't finish that. So I did. I'm like, hey, I met the prerequisite. It let me sign up. I'm like, okay, how hard can it be, right? So I'm in class on Tuesday. It's Tuesday, Thursday class, right? And there's a lab. So I'm thinking, okay, Thursday is the lab, Tuesday is a lecture. Cool. No, it didn't work out that way. So I sit down to class, and he's passing back these quizzes. I'm like, oh, fuck, what's this all about? Am I in the right class? I am in the right class. I missed yesterday. Awesome. I missed the first day of class, which is like probably one of the most important because you figure out all the stuff.
Well, you could have just eaten the quiz or just talked to dude and be like, listen.
I did eat the quiz. The quiz was basically, where are you now? How are you going to struggle with this class? I probably would have failed everything on that quiz, honestly.
That's okay.
Like he was going through it, and like he's talking about cations and anions, and like, oh my God,
it was
I don't have
low
any
weight,
idea.
right? Come on, low weight quiz.
The point of it was, I was like, I have no idea what's going on, honestly. And like, the way it works is Chem 1 was chapters 1 through 9 of the book, and Chem 2, which the class has in, was chapters 10 through 18. And we basically started right in chapter 10. I'm like, oh shit. Like, honestly,
okay.
Like I spent all day Tuesday from like 11 to 6 doing nothing but like cramming basically semester 1, and I got through 1/10 of it. I'm like, oh, this is not going to work. I'm going to be behind the 8 ball all semester, and I'm definitely not going to spend a semester.
So what's the plan? Are you planning on?
So here's the plan.
Revisiting
the revisit update plan, because you got to move forward. You know, you got to try new stuff. I was telling my friend today that if it's terrifying, you should probably try it, because your comfort zone is what kills you.
Yep.
So it's to basically get some hours under my belt, substitute teaching, get into that, get doing it, see if I even like dealing with these kids. Maybe I hate it. I don't know. I got to try it. give it a shot, make some money off of it. And if it seems to be cool, I'm like, all right, it's cool. I can picture doing this. Then come spring, re-enroll, take chemistry 1, pay $800 to take a class I've already passed because I need to know the stuff. Like I got to actually, at this point, learn it. Not just get a grade, learn the stuff. So start all the way back at the beginning. And the same goes with calculus. Like I've taken calculus. Do I remember how to do that? No. So taking Calc 2 is probably a bad idea because I still do calculator for plussing and minusing shit. So basically I have to take a couple steps back and pay for it to actually get my brain
That's all right, though.
back on. So
you're not giving up on all. You're just
I'm just
back and
readdressing
doing the
and
smarter thing with it. So
regrouping.
That's good.
Kind of deal. So that's kind of where I've been doing. I do want to look for a dog now that I am not working all the time. Like adopt a dog kind of deal. So Winnebago County's in play. Noah's Ark. There's Illinois Doberman Rescue that I could look into, and just all the different spots. But I don't want to buy a dog. I'm trying to look for a dog kind of deal. So
sure. Any breed specifically, or you just go and fall in love with whatever?
Like large dog, maybe Doberman again, because I really love my Doberman. But that's it'll be what it'll be when I find a dog, and I'll just be like, oh, that's the one. I look at their smile. Like, are they smiling? Oh, he's smiling. Cool. So I don't necessarily want a pit bull. I don't have anything against pit bulls. I just don't necessarily want one any more than I want like a Chihuahua. It's just not my thing. But Winnebago County is chocked full of pit bulls that need homes. And
so many pit bulls.
So they're nice dogs too. Everybody has a pit bull.
Very polarizing thing, the pit bulls.
It is. And it's gone through. The Doberman used to be the pit bull, and before Dobermans it was the Rottweilers, and before them it was the German Shepherds. And every
pit bull was it like the 60s American dog, wasn't it?
Yeah, the pit bull is actually was for kids.
That was the family dog.
Was looking out for the family dog, and it wasn't until assholes decided to start dog fighting that they used pit bulls as the dogs to do that with. So they got a bad rap. But as humans, I don't know, hopefully progress, we'll understand it's not the dog, it's the person. But that's
it's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog.
Okay, Murph. So that's kind of catching up here. So you're engaged now, huh?
Yeah.
So that's a whole other topic I wanted to talk to you about. Like, how do you know? Like,
so this is funny, and we were talking about this as and by we I mean me and hashtag fiance friend. We both had this conversation of, in the past I've talked to people that are in either engaged or married, and I'm like, how do you know that that's your person forever? How do you know? And they're like, well, you just know. Like, it's no effort to be around them. Like, you just know that's your person. I'm like, okay, but how?
That's great.
Give me some actual information. Don't just say
because I don't know. Like,
so you ready for my advice?
I do. I'm all about advice.
You just know.
Okay, thanks. Wonderful.
That's exactly how I feel.
Good. That's all. I guess that's really all I can do.
I want to spend all my free time, or my time, like doing things, and my time relaxing. Like, I love just being around her. We complement each other.
Good.
It's not any work ever.
Because if you hate being around her, probably not the one.
It's totally like the best time ever.
Perfect.
With her.
Good.
And we balance it out. I say, hey, I'm going to do this. And she's like, cool. And she's like, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, cool. There's no like neither one of us is needy, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
So it's like we do that. This is a big differentiator for me, we can be productive together. If like I start getting stir crazy if I'm not getting shit done because we're, going out to do errands and cooking and doing this stuff, like doing the couple thing, and I'm like, I'm not getting shit done, I get crazy. Well, we get stuff done. We make lists together and we knock it out. So I was like, whoa, this is my my person.
I love lists. See, the thing, and everybody knows I'm terrible at relationships. I'm just terrible. Like, the longest relationship I've ever been in was probably 3 years, and that was a hot mess of just drama.
Toxic.
I don't know about toxic, but she was super pretty, and I just put up with more BS than I've ever put up with because she's pretty. And I learned that in future that's not a good excuse to put up with BS. So we've lived and learned. But at one point she was the one. I'm like, oh, well, this is the girl. And all the things that you just said I had with her. I'm like, oh, okay. And she really, really wanted to get married. But the deal breaker with her was she wanted kids. And she was about 8 years older than me, and I was probably 28 or 29 at the time. So her clock was like,
oh yeah,
ticking.
she's red to go.
It's not safe for her. She'd be 36, 37. I know the numbers.
Eggs are dropping.
They are. And she's like, so about like looking at her watch, like, so about when do you think you're going to be ready for kids? I was like, it's not a matter of when. It's like, if I'm ever going to be ready for kids. It turns out I'm not, because now I'm sterile on purpose. I've actually got a vasectomy and it's done.
Does that hurt?
It did. And we can talk about that too.
No.
Yes.
I'm so scared. Because we agree. I didn't, we
will definitely cover
forever
this subject.
talking about fiance friend, but we agreed on religion, philosophy, like kids, child, like style of parenting. There's everything.
Yeah.
And there's going to be work in any relationship. But the fact that there's not a single thing that I'm like, man, I wish you were just kind of more like this,
I can fix you. so yeah, to me personally, and now this is coming from a wedding DJ, mind you, I'm around people when they're, quite frankly, the happiest they're ever going to be, other than maybe like childbirth / winning the lottery kind of deal. So I'm around couples and I provide the fun, and that's what I truly value, is the guy, they trust me to like, hey, this is the happiest moment in our lives. Right. Let's trust Mike to make fun things happen. And I do. So that's what I do. That's where my value comes from, me personally. But to me, the point of marriage is to make children and to procreate and raise them together.
Dude, so it's like the peak of narcissism.
What's
like that? Like me and her.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think would be better than me is like a mixture of me and her.
Good. Because that's what parenting is. You create an offspring
it's
of
like,
oh my God, genetics.
These little lanky ass kids are going to be running around. It's going to be so great.
Yes, have lots of children. We're
going to have 2.
Okay. Well, one boy and a girl, or just keep going?
I hope. It doesn't matter. 2 boys, 2 girls. Like, I don't.
You're going to get what you get.
You get what you get.
Yeah. Maybe
twins. Ideally, twins. I'm hoping for boy then girl.
Twins.
The older brother
I'm
thing.
You twins.
I was telling her that'd be fine too, one and done. And then I also told her that me and my 2 brothers, guess who was the biggest baby? This guy.
Yeah.
Huge. My mom, people would ask if the baby was standing up because she was so big.
Oh my God.
And that made
you think she had figured out by
upset.
then, because you were number 3, so at that point, it's like,
It's bad when the third one feels like the first one.
Oh, God. No. Buy your mom a nice present for Mother's Day, for sure. So for me, I'm super independent. We've talked about this, so we won't go into that. But I make all my own choices. And for me to give up the power to someone else to like choose stuff, I don't know if I can even do that anymore. I'm 41 years old now. I've lived my entire life mostly. And I told this girl the other day, I said, my relationships have been temporary and dramatic. That would be the best way. And this is one of the girls I had a relationship with too. And temporary and dramatic would be the best summation of me dating, essentially. So to marry somebody, I can't commit to that-ish. So not really worried about that, really, about being married, I guess.
What if someone... I hope this happens, that you're just going to get swept off your feet and you're like, you know what, Greg? You know what the thing was? And I'm like, what? You'd be like, you just know.
You just know. She was the one. And you know what? Great. I'm not saying I'm not trying to not get married, but I'm not expecting that to happen. And I'm not necessarily like, oh my God, my life's a failure if I don't get married. No. Everything is I'm happy. Life is great. I was telling the girl, this girl the other day, who is come back into my life, a girl from college, actually, a girl that really broke my heart back in the day, because she didn't marry me and had kids with some other guy. So, but that's all changed. And I told her, I said, my life has been filled with women that have been temporary and dramatic. And I've just learned to just be myself, be my guy. So when I was younger, woman A would compete with woman B, with woman C from my perspective. Well, this one's got that going on, but this one's got that going on. So I'll choose this one and we'll see how that goes. But as I've grown older and more independent, every woman competes with my time, my free time.
Right.
Like woman A, B, and C are like, well, none of you are better than my time to go do XYZ, to go weld, or to go start a new career.
But could you share your time with this woman to do some things? Some things I
could, I guess.
So if you find someone that you can share that time, and then you don't need their time other, because they have independent things. That's why I think you're going to get like, holy crap, this is my lady.
But see, I've had that with multiple women. I've been with women that I've dated for a consistent amount of time where it's like, it's cool. She can do her thing. I can do my thing. It's great, blah, blah, blah. But there's always a deal breaker somewhere in there. One of them was she would rather smoke cigarettes than been with me. The other one was I need a guy that makes a whole shitload of money because you don't make enough money. The other one, a couple other ones.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just everything.
There's
it's
like billions of people, so you got bad rap so far. That's all.
Fair enough. There's plenty of fish.
Don't get on that dating
there's
app.
There's an app. I have
it.
It's called Plenty of Fish.
There's plenty of ratchet ass hoes to get off of that.
Plenty of fatties is really what it is. That sounds terrible, but it's true. I put it in there.
Plenty of ratchet ass thoughts is what you should call it.
There's a lot of robots in there too. Seriously. So yeah. So I don't know. I'm just kind of doing my thing. When I look for a woman, it don't happen. When I'm not looking, boom, there's a cool person. We'll try that out.
Do you have Blender?
No, I don't even know what that is. I'm assuming that's something that makes margaritas. I'm assuming it's an app.
It's an app. I think that's the one.
Yeah. I tried Match.com, and I went on a couple match dates, and that wasn't terrible. It just, I don't know. It just wasn't. Yeah.
I mean, if it's not something you desire, then don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it, honestly. And
so that's great.
I'm one of those guys out there, and this is going to sound arrogant as fuck and narcissistic, and you take it how you will, but I'm a good guy. I got my shit together. Mm-hmm. I'm a good person. I think I'm a good person. I try to help my fellow man. I donate my time to my friends, and I live a good life. I do. I don't cheat on my taxes other than, getting, just some discounts here and there with stuff, but let's not talk about that too much. I go the speed limit most of the time. If I do, I'm only like 5 over.
I race up to 5 over, no problem.
I get to 45 in a 40, and I'm good. I just don't find ways to work the system. If it's not the right thing to do, I don't do it, and it's just how I live my life. I'm the good guy that people are like, oh, you're looking for a good guy. I'm like, hello. I'm like right here. I'm like literally right here. I'm the guy buying groceries at Woodman's all by myself every time at the same time. Like, you see me, I'm that guy. I'm the guy pumping gas. I'm the guy, just the guy. Like, I'm out there. So when I'm like, oh, where do I got to get this app or find this guy? I'm right here. It's like, just to do my thing. Women need to talk to more guys in general. And I think guys need to talk to more women too, but whatever. I'm not focused. I'm not focused on that. I'm not trying to find a woman. I'm happy right now. And I don't think that, and this is the big thing too, is that I think a lot of people unfortunately think that, oh, I'm not happy, and I need to find somebody that can make me happy. And that's
you find someone who enhances your life, you're already happy.
You have to be happy on your own before you add another human being into the situation. You can't expect that person to make you happy. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to you. And I think a lot of people do that. And it's like, well, for sure, I'm not happy. I'm going to find someone to be happy. And that's just the wrong way to do it.
You're speaking my language. All these things I've gone through.
Picking up what I'm putting down.
And that's where I'm just like, that's my chick.
Good. See,
and don't you hit on her, because I already put a ring on it.
I'm not even going to touch that. We're good. So the vasectomy, so marriage is the point, I had kids and all that. So obviously, I am not having children. I am for sure 100% sterile. In fact, the nurse, when I dropped off my sample, the way she said it to me to confirm made me fucking laugh out loud. I don't think she intended to say it the way she did, but she literally, I'm on the phone and I dropped off my sample, and like, we checked it all out. You are 100% sperm free. She goes, you are good to go. And I'm like, I'm like I have a woman like in my house, like good to go, laying there waiting for like the high five, the green light to get in there. And she's like, and I laughed, and she didn't laugh, and I was like, well, okay, thanks, good to go. But I was done. Yeah. So a little bit about that procedure in case you want to know how that works. So for the most part, here you go. I'm gonna tell you. So here's a fun part. When I was not working at BMO, I had Blue Cross and Blue Shield insurance, and it covered the procedure 100%.
Nice.
Cool, right? Yeah, but then I quit that insurance and I picked up BMO's insurance because it's obviously going to be better. It's BMO. No, it wasn't. I had to pay for it all out of pocket, so that sucked.
Yeah.
Turned out to be about $1,200, which isn't that big of a deal. It's a lot cheaper than a child is for the first couple of days, I guess. So
sure.
So yeah, kids are expensive, so be prepared.
Oh, yeah.
So I got signed up with the guy, and I was like, I met the guy, and I'm sitting in the office, and he's having this just matter of fact, and like he went through the whole procedure, like here's exactly what's going to happen, and I didn't blink.
They're gonna cut open your sack.
Yeah,
they're gonna
do all these
cut something and cauterize, right?
Yeah, all the stuff.
That's basically what I know.
And he's like waiting for me to like flinch or walk out. I'm committed. Like, I'm in here. This is happening. I got my dad out there to give me a ride home. We're good to go. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, let's do this. So he takes me into the room, and I'm like, so I opted for the Valium. Like, I want the Valium. Okay. Yeah. I've never had Valium before. I know that it seems to be fun from what the TV shows. So I'm like, okay. Sure. So I'm expecting to get this little paper cup. Here's a couple pills. I'm going to take these pills, and you're going to take 20 minutes. Like, no. He goes, quote, we're going to mainline you. And I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. I'm all about proper drug usage. And this is the doctor. And he's like, we're going to put a needle in your arm, and we're going to shoot that.
You're going to straight train spotting it.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought of. I'm like looking for babies crawling on the ceiling.
Oh, God.
He literally
dude,
shot
so dark.
that.
I forgot about
and
that.
That's a fucked up movie. Shot that stuff straight. He goes, you're going to feel drunk within 5 seconds. I'm like, oh, my God. That's the holy grail. I've been trying to find that forever. Yeah. 5 seconds. So I'm like, really? Yeah. And he did. And he did the whole tourniquet thing and tap, 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 and stuck it in there. I'm like, okay, that kind of, it kind of hurt a little bit, it's getting a needle stuck in you. But I got these big old veins, and he found them. So he let that go, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, just like that, I was like, oh, man, that's great.
And then you're like, let's some IHOP.
And I had one of my earphones in. I had brought my earpods. So I had one in and the other one out so I could hear him. And then he's like, cool if I listen to me? He goes, yeah, do whatever you do. So I'm literally just staring at the fluorescent lights, jamming out to whatever I was jamming out to, drunk. And he's all down there. I can feel some nipping and tugging, and I can feel some pokes. I didn't care. I didn't.
So you would say he's rubbing and tugging?
He was nipping and snipping is what he was doing. He got in there, and I felt a couple pokes. Yeah, it did kind of hurt a little bit.
That's rough.
But I'm drunk at this point, basically, and I didn't look at him at all, and I didn't look down there. I was just so zoned out.
This whole out of context. I'm drunk. I just didn't look at him.
I didn't look at him, and it's like he's just doing the thing. There's no nurse in there, just me, poking and prodding on it. No chicks, none of that. I thought there was going to be a nurse, but none of that. So that went pretty smooth. I did not take his advice and bring a jock strap, because I don't need a jock. I don't know what a jock strap for. I should have. And I also didn't take any Aleve or ibuprofen before, which I definitely should have.
Why not just like whitey tighties? No,
no, because it turns out that any movement of said scrotum after it hurts a lot. And the Valium wore off right when I was getting my ride home from the dad. And we went to, ironically, this is the fun part, we went to Dick's Sporting Goods, right? And I bought a jock strap. And I got home, and we went to the IGA to get a couple bags of peas to put on said parts. And the entire time, Greg, I shit you not, it felt like somebody was literally kicking me in the balls.
That's the worst feeling.
It is the worst. And I was literally in the car, like holding on, like this, like it hurts. Like someone, like little kid would just constantly kicking me in my junk, and it hurt that a lot. So that sucked. Went home, took more ibuprofen, Aleve, a lot of it, put the bag of peas on there, and just laid down and slept for like 5 hours. And that was day one. And I took 2 days off of work. I took 1 day off for the procedure. Like, I'll take it. I was like, she goes, you want another day? She can take another one. I don't need. I took 2. Right. It was a Monday. I went in for the procedure. Tuesday. By the mid Tuesday, I was like, I'm gonna need a week. I can't. Nope. I took a whole week off from the bank. Used all my sick hours up, and I went back in the next week on Monday. That was a mistake too, because that was the first I actually sat in a chair. That was murder. So basically, an entire week and I was black and blue. Like my junk, it was black and like when you get punched in the eye, black and blue. That's how my junk looked.
Jeez,
it hurt. So I couldn't take a shower for the first 4 days. 4 days.
Smelling rank, bro.
Stinky.
Did you have a nice Italian shower at least?
Oh, God, no. I didn't do anything. No, I laid on the couch and watched Amazon Prime. That's all I did. Also, too, there's no self-pleasuring of yourself, of any of that nature for a solid 2 weeks.
What?
No pleasuring.
Have you ever seen that? Was it 40 Days a Night?
Yes. Yeah. He's looking at like the electrical outlets, like that's turning me on. Yeah. That was very hard to do. I'm not gonna lie. Like me, you
ever heard of like NoFap?
What's that?
It's where it's like this movement where
Sounds
people
religious.
don't. No, not really. Could be,
pass.
But it's like where people just don't fap,
pass.
and they like people are talking about it's been 400 days, and I'm like, what?
That's too bad. It's been like a day, maybe half a day. What time is it?
Like, that's just crazy. Anyway,
So anyways, I went to work and I sat down. I'm like, I got kicked in the balls again. So I was on fucking struggle at the bank for the morning on Monday.
Did you tell anybody?
I did.
Like, they're like, what's wrong? You okay? I'm like, dude, look at my balls.
Marcus, mind you, wanted to see my balls.
I believe that 100%.
He was intent.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not showing my balls. They're purple. So I left Monday at like 11:30. And I can't do this. I went home and took Monday and the next Tuesday off after that too. And I finally I was like, you know what? I just got to do this. And then Wednesday I came in. I just got through it. And
after that, you're all right?
It took another 10 days to actually be like, see, like now I'm not trying to make you look at my junk, but like I'm sitting like normal. Like no.
I kind of joke like I'm a big fan of heat-based contraception. I just crank the hot tub up to 105, hang out in there for a half an hour. If I do that like 3 or 4 days a week, I'm good for 6 months.
Oh, well.
You just boil those little bastards and you're good to go.
I'm good to go now. Like I got free and clear, green to go. Like all my stuff is lined up. I have all my sweets health chart showing I'm completely STD free. Like all the things. Like I can literally go, hey girl, check this out. See, legit can't get you pregnant. Ain't got no STDs.
Only thing that could go wrong for you is you get burnt up now. That's the only thing.
But I can what now?
You're so clean and you're bragging about it. Only thing that could go wrong is you get burnt up. Well, and then everyone's like, oh, there's that guy with the herpes chlamydia.
That would suck. That would suck. So it's done. Like, I'm not fathering children. It's not happening. And I thought it would. I don't know. Didn't know what to expect mentally. Like, oh my god, am I going to be all depressed? I can't have babies. Like, no. It's a wonderful feeling.
Does it change your testosterone at all?
No, it doesn't affect any of that. It doesn't change your sex drive.
Doesn't change like your feeling of a man or testosterone.
Nothing that you've learned from Family Guy when Peter got
the feelings of pleasure stuff too. Any of that change?
None of that.
Everything's the same.
Everything's legit. It's all the same.
That's
mechanically.
Cool. Great.
It all works.
Do you know my brother had that done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's got 2. I mean,
he's done.
You'd be done. That's good.
I forgot, or he must have told me.
Dude,
but anyway,
I used to work with a guy, BMO. He has 3 children under the age of 2. He had 1 kid, and then he had twins. Like 10 months after.
Dang it! I just wanted 1 more.
And then he got snipped.
Because you shouldn't be outnumbered, kids to parents.
They call it Irish triplets. I don't know where that comes from, but he has 3 children under the age of 2. And this dude, he's a cool cat, man. He was probably the guy I talked to the most at the bank.
Yeah.
And he just super stressed, like super. Like I had to come in after like a kick-ass Friday, Saturday night weekend. Did the DJ thing, got trashed, hung out with some girls. Worked on my truck. Overslept.
Right.
Show up Monday ready to go, and he's like looking haggard. I'm like, what happened? But he was like, I didn't sleep for the last 36 hours. The kids had this terrible stomach thing, and then this thing happened. I'm looking at him like, he looked like shit, bro. I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, cool. You only got like 18 years of this time, 3, right? And he's like, oh.
Yeah, but that's only like little kid stuff. Once they're like, how old do you think? 7? They're like
17.
No, 7. They're like little people. They're not so needy.
I don't think it works that way, because I think as they age, I think they find different ways to fuck with your mind, either intentionally or not. Like honestly, like it can be, oh, well, my kid's like 8, so it's cool. No, because 8-year-olds are gonna do 8-year-old shit that's gonna drive you insane, and so are 9-year-olds.
Well, the thing is,
so
I kind of went through the whole like seeing a kid grow up from 3 to 9 kind of thing. And it got easier and easier.
I can think that once like they're past crapping on themselves and sleeping all night, that yes, that's definitely a thank you Lord milestone. Like that's when they can poo and pee on their own, and you don't have to.
That's what grosses me out. I've never done that. Changed a diaper or anything.
Never changed the diaper, and I'm not about to start.
And hashtag fiance friend. She did the CNA thing quick before she became a nurse.
Yeah.
That's all you do is clean up people.
Oh, so basically this can go one of 2 ways for you.
She said, I got that in 2 seconds. I can show you. I got it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have like the hazmat mask where I can't smell anything. And the kid's going to be like, I'm used to the radioactive guy changing me. It's fine. Like,
so either she's going to do it all the time, which I highly doubt because nobody's that lucky.
No, and that's not fair either.
That's not fair either.
Yeah.
It's totally not fair. I'm just not going to do it. So yeah, I'm actually, and I don't want to say terrified of little children. But yeah, I don't handle them at all.
I think kids are great.
I have nothing against them, but they're not, I don't want to deal with them.
I like hanging with them. And it's going to be different being a dad versus like friend kind of thing.
Because like it's your own spawn, and I'm pretty sure you'd be more emotionally attached to said item.
Yeah.
Said child.
It's gonna be like a little me and a little her.
Once, like, so for example, like our friend Steve with his son Brayton. Once Brayton was walking around and like talking and stuff, I'm like, all right, that's cool. You know, I get to know him. That's cool. But before that,
right,
we're good. Like,
I'm not a big fan of getting them anything for birthdays or Christmas.
That's
up
good.
to like past 4.
Yeah, what's
like,
the point of that?
I have a niece and a nephew. They're like, oh, did you want to send anything for their birthday? I'm like, no.
Hugs and kisses is in the air. X's and O's.
So I was joking. I was like, okay, I get it. I'm with it. Because my mom's like, well, you'd be an uncle. You should send something. I'm like, okay. So I sent one of those bop it, twist it things. So I'm like, what's the most annoying gift I could get?
Yes, absolutely.
And then I'm going to send him some kinetic sand sometime soon.
You send him a drum set, a little mini drum set.
Drum set would
Guitars.
be good. But then Mike will take that stuff away. So I was thinking like maybe send him some real sand and tell him it's kinetic sand. Dump it out on the carpet.
It's a 5-pound bag of sand. You're welcome. That's legit Sahara sand.
There's these funny boxes you can buy on Amazon, and they're like toddler's first bonfire, and it shows like a little gas can. It says comes with
sounds
combustible liquid and a little bonfire thing. It shows a little kid starting to fire, all happy.
What could go wrong with this box of knives?
So I was like, I'm gonna get that and put the next gift in there.
They'll teach you not to buy actually for presents anymore in the future. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So yeah, so that's kind of we caught up a lot of stuff there. So what else? Like what else is on the agenda that you wanna?
Oh man, so I'm glad that we did this so that we can.
What time are we at?
Caught up 41 minutes. 41? So we can get caught up on things, because we kind of did the same thing 2 podcasts ago. We got caught up with like, I think it was Matt and Wynn. Just kind of went over everything that's been happening. And then it's like, now we can talk about how we used to. Like, let's talk about subjects and stuff.
Yeah. So
that kind of brings me on to our sponsors.
Wow, stepping up your game here.
Yeah. And the sponsor's not really what you think. Anyway, if you're going to buy a Tesla, any Tesla, make sure to use a referral code, because you get 1,000 free supercharging miles. I should have had the referral link ready. Hold on.
Because you have a Tesla now, which people do or don't know.
They
people
do know.
They don't. Okay. I know. I got to go for a ride. It was insane.
I lost my full. You'll get 1,000 supercharging miles on the Tesla charging network. Now, all you have to do when you order your Tesla is use the referral code GREGG 48406. You get 1,000 miles. Full transparency. I also get 1,000 miles.
Nice.
I'll give you a shout out when I'm on my road trip.
Nice. We could be Tesla buddies.
Yeah.
Sometime.
So, that's great.
Yeah, we went for a ride before the podcast in his car, and
because you didn't know that I had.
I didn't know that you had. I didn't know you had a Tesla, and I think I told him. I think I saw you last week driving around with the dual motor kind of thing. And
if I was the guy that was, an eighth of a mile away while everyone was barely crossing the intersection from the red light, that was me.
I think I saw you in front of Sam's.
I
think that's where it was.
Oh, was it around lunchtime?
I don't recall the time. So.
Okay, because I'm usually going to like Panda Express and stuff like that.
It was probably you. It was probably you. The car is stupid fast. Like I'm a big horsepower guy, and I got these trucks, and I got the V8 gas engines and stuff, and it's fun. But like the first time you floored it, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, because I didn't want to tell you horsepower and torque numbers before I floored
it. Experienced it. I was
because
pushed back in the seat.
What'd you expect? You expected like a thing just to like push you back. Like, oh, that's cool.
I expected to push me back, and I know, because I'm a car guy and a tech guy, I know that electric cars, their torque curve is basically a straight line. They don't need to rev up.
Just
they
like
just they just go. And I know that, but I didn't. And I expect, there's a little push there.
You didn't expect 490 foot-pounds of torque.
Push me back into my seat and be like, holy shit, what's happening right now?
I've gotten the feeling the first time I floored it, I got it just straight in my chest.
Yeah.
Because fiance friend, like we were at her parents for dinner, and then we're out looking at the car because I just picked it up.
Yeah.
And her mom goes, so what is this thing? Just putts around because it's electric? I'm like, okay, go ahead and get in.
Yeah.
And I took her for a test drive. She goes, oh my God! Flew her arms up and everything. I was like, yeah, that's right.
See, this right here, us talking about it, you driving in traffic, you just, smoking Mustangs off the street. This is the marketing is what's going to make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't see commercials on TV for Tesla cars.
No, they don't spend money on marketing.
They don't. It's the product.
They don't need to.
It's so innovative and so game-changing, different from anything that's currently available, or even in the near horizon for any major manufacturer for cars. It's going to sell itself, honestly.
There's so much demand that they don't need to do anything else to increase demand because they can't meet demand right now.
It's supply and demand. I'm surprised they're not charging a shitload more, honestly. Like they could,
well,
but that's not what they're trying to do.
Elon says a lot of stuff, but he's saying that they're going to raise the prices over time, especially when full self-driving becomes closer. So
if there's no competition, why wouldn't he? It's a smart businessman.
Well,
but that's
Tesla's ultimate goal is to have so many cars out there, and then all of the leases that they do, and then they get the car back. You cannot buy a lease out at the end of the term.
Really?
So you're paying that depreciation, and then Tesla has that car, and they're banking on full self-driving being done, being legal, and then you have robo-taxis.
Yeah.
So by Uber and all those other ones, you just have an app, and then a Tesla will come pick you up and take you where you need to go.
That's insane.
So you can also opt in as an owner. So he kind of pitches it like an investment. I don't think I really buy that. Like, oh, my $30,000 car can be worth $80,000 because in a year I'll be able to pay it off. Because when I go out in the morning and I get in my car and it knows it's around 8, it'll be like, oh, Greg goes to work. So then it drives me to work and I don't do a single thing.
And then it goes out and makes you money.
And then when I get to work, I go, okay, go out and run taxi for a while.
See, that would be awesome.
And it will drive around all day giving people rides. It'll stop and charge itself because it'll have that by then. It'll stop and charge. And then it knows to stop because it needs to pick me up by 4 or whatever.
See, if they can apply that's revolutionary.
So when that is out, they're going to charge $80,000 for the same car. Because why sell it for that little when you can pay it off in a year by just opting in? Because that's the biggest waste of resources, right? Your car sits for so long.
99% of its
So
life.
why do we need so many cars?
Yeah.
Right?
What you've just described is not just, oh, that's a cool car. That changes the scope of the economy.
Yeah.
And we've touched on that too, but that gets rid of so many things that are just taxis, Uber, done.
Yeah.
The whole commercial trucking industry is going to adopt that shit as quickly as they can because that's highway stuff.
And I'm really into solar and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to invest yet for my house, but if I got like an 8 kilowatt solar system on the roof here, it would pay for my electricity and charging the car every day.
I'm surprised that Elon hasn't packaged that kind of stuff yet because he owns
they do.
the largest.
You configure the solar when you go to check out with your car.
Yeah.
And you can like see the pricing on it and all that stuff.
He owns the largest solar manufacturing panel company in the world.
Yeah, they bought Solar City.
Solar City. And on top of that, he's working on, I don't know, there's got like 10 of him. I don't know how he does all these things he does. Like, honestly.
He works nonstop.
All the time.
He spends like 3 days a week on Tesla and 2 days or 3 days a week on SpaceX, and he'll like fly north south California and just like sleep on couches kind of thing.
This one guy,
those poor kids.
One guy is literally trying to change the scope of humanity and all the stuff, and he is doing it. Like he's
going to be in history books like crazy.
He should be. I mean, all the stuff he's done, like just himself is just insanity. Like he's building the gigafactory. I don't know how close that is to being done to produce the batteries for the cars.
They just got the permit and they're looking at launching the factory in China.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So they're going to be making Teslas locally in China.
Why not? That's the largest car
sell
market
there
in the world.
directly, and they got the government incentives and stuff.
Period. Just think if you have the world's largest culture, oldest culture, China, before the majority of the population can afford a car that is raised, if you will, or come to learn what cars are through Tesla, and all they know is Tesla cars.
What if, because there's a few other electric manufacturers too. They're like names that we don't really know, and they are in China already. They're local companies.
They should be. Like this is a giant wake up call to GM and Ford and Chrysler and all the manufacturers that are not even playing the same game.
No,
that your car is. It's like a whole other like the year 2100 called and said, "Hey, have this car now."
Right.
short of flying, I don't know what else you can do to improve upon personal conveyance, honestly. Like, and that's probably the next step. I mean, he has rockets that land themselves already, for Christ's sake. That's insanity.
And the huge bloat with our government, which you could go on forever, like how misappropriation of funds, right? And how much a NASA shuttle used to cost to launch. And then he said something about hundreds of thousands or less than $1 million to launch.
It was about $1 billion. It was around $1 billion a pop to send the shuttle out into space.
And I don't know the exact number, but I remember it was stupid low.
It was less than, okay, so the heavy lift launch system now is, I think it's around 90 million to send up into space, which is less than a tenth of what the shuttle costs, and it can carry 10 times the payload of what the shuttle could carry.
Right.
So that's like a factor. That's 2 factors.
That's what happens when you bring everything in your own vertical and make it yourself.
And you do it yourself. You're like, I don't need the government. I'm going to do this.
And it's not like, well, we have a government funding, so what's your crazy bid going to be? And now we're going to waste all these
And that was part of the problem with the space shuttle, is it was government funded. And what that means is everybody in every state had to have a piece of the action for the shuttle. So it was the most complicated machine in the ever. Yeah. And it's, you're going to have the most complicated machine doing some of the most complicated shit in the world.
Right.
You're going to have failures. And 40% of the space shuttle fleet exploded. So 2 of their 5.
Those freaking rings for the Challenger.
The Challenger rings, and then the heat absorption panels on the bottom of the other one that Discovery that failed in reentry.
Yeah.
So 40% of your fleet exploded. That's terrible numbers, especially when you lose humans' lives, and that's just, it's not acceptable. So he's been able to get these things to land themselves. If you've never seen an Elon Musk shuttle or a rocket launch and a re-entry and landing, you need to watch it, because it's mind-blowing. It's completely automatic. There's no human at the joystick. The thing goes up, it releases this payload, it flips, it burns, it comes back in, and it uses the rest of its fuel to land. It lands on moving objects, for damn sake. It lands on
a little barge.
It barges in the ocean.
Yeah.
It moving things and they land themselves.
I mean, that's what happens if you do the maths right.
Yeah,
just saying.
The maths, and like every launch he has, they learn.
Yeah,
every one they learn, they fine tune it,
and they laugh when stuff blows up during tests and stuff.
Yeah, because that's how you learn. Oh,
right.
Don't do that again, kind of
like,
deal.
Oh no, let's not show this failure.
Yeah, let's show
or we make an awesome montage video on YouTube.
Yeah,
and they did
people
that
watch it
of the failures.
They do it. They got the Dragon capsule now that's actually docked with the International Space Station, and is slated to carry up, I think, 6 or 7 astronauts within a year. I'm not quite sure on the timeline, but NASA's actually approved. They've like pushed this thing through, like it's meeting all the test standards. Like NASA's had to come up with new protocols for testing, because he's so far ahead of meeting the goals that because NASA's a government company,
right?
They're a government entity. They're used to having years to fuck around and get something figured out, where Musk's like, oh, it's been a month, so let's get shit done.
Right.
So
I can't wait till we have in our lifetime, we're going to have like a moon base.
We are, in fact, by NASA
with $1 billion thing.
With the government funding, has set the goal to be on the moon with a base by 2030, 31, 32. And there's a lot of other there's the European space program, there's a Japanese space program, or the Indian space program, the Russian one, Rosmo. I'm not saying this right.
What's up with Bezos' space program?
He's the richest man in the damn world. What's it called? Blue Origin? Is that what he's?
I don't know. I don't follow that guy.
It's called the John Glenn. That's what they're working on. He's just not. He's not headlining it. He's not in it for the same reasons that Elon Musk is. Elon Musk, I truly feel, wants to preserve humanity and change the scope of what it really means to be a human. And Bezos is just, I need more money. I've already got 150 billion.
Is it SmartLink? Is that the global internet that is?
They sent out, I think it was 60 satellites recently. That's one of his other things.
The geosynchronous orbit, and they keep adding more and more.
He wants to build.
Once they have 10,000 or something like that.
Yeah, you could blanket the Earth and Wi-Fi coverage for all.
Yeah.
And just think about, okay, so that's a paradigm shift in humanity. So the equivalent to that, I think, would be the invention of the printing press, steam power, electric power, internet, global Wi-Fi. If every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth had access to infinite knowledge, just imagine how many more Einsteins or Elon Musk that are living in some third world country that have genius level IQs.
Because you can use Khan Academy and all these online college. You can learn for it.
It will change.
It's great.
Just think of how many super brilliant geniuses are out there. How many others really, really
just
smart
born in
people
bad consequences,
that are never going to see the light of day because they don't have internet.
Yep.
They're in some backworld country. They don't have electricity. So that's going to just change the scope of how much more we learn faster, because it's an exponential curve where you have more smart people doing more smart things with more smart technology. You make more smart people, more smart.
You need those
faster.
people to breed.
Well,
because the thing is, we got the wrong people breeding right now.
There's plenty of breeding going on right now, so that's a whole other thing too. We got 7 billion people on this earth. So that's another reason that Elon Musk wants to get us. He wants to have a 1 million person colony. 1 million people is what he's personally decided is a good number for sustainability on Mars, and that's his goal.
Interplanetary species.
Interplanetary
we
species.
Need that.
We do need that for a variety.
Because then
one rogue
all
asteroid.
people on Mars are gonna be like, "This is awkward." When they see a huge asteroid hit Earth.
Yeah. Well, now what? Great. All those Christmas.
They're like, "Oh, great! The
up.
people on the other side are gonna probably flying up here right
screwed.
now."
There's to touch on this. There's a really cool, I thought, a very cool series that you would probably like on Amazon. It's called The Expanse. And it's 3 seasons. They're working on a 4th.
It's a space opera.
It's a space opera. It's all about Earth and Mars and the Belters that live. There's 3 different factions, if you will. It's set about 100 years in the future, and space travel ain't no thing. And the technology, the effects.
I think I saw the first episode.
You need to watch it. It's really very, very cool. And it turns out that apparently Mars has a beef with the Earth, and then the Belters that live on the Jupiter area, like on the moons of Jupiter. They have an issue with both of them. There's like these 3 ways of factions going on, because it turns out that when you have multiple planets going on, that you have your own cultures develop. You have your own time, like your own calendar, your own all the things, honestly. So that's what's happening, and it's good because it just takes one super plague or one super volcano or one rogue asteroid to ruin it all.
Yellowstone, that super volcano.
Yeah,
that scares the crap out of me.
It might not even erupt. That's a whole other thing. I mean, who knows about that? That would.
I'm just saying that's one of many.
It's one of many, and it could honestly that would ruin everybody's day.
Do you ever think, like, when you're doing your day-to-day life, that like right now, like, huge asteroid 5 miles big, it can come and hit the Earth?
That would be it.
And like,
and we're surrounded by them. So for those that don't really know the planetary system, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and then the Kuiper Belt, which is just this giant asteroid belt that's between Mars and Jupiter. There's billions of these rocks floating around, every one of them capable of wiping out life on Earth. The fact that Jupiter is where it's at in our solar system is probably why there's life on Earth in the first place, because it sucks up all of those rogue asteroids mostly. So that's cool. Jupe. And then, you got Uranus and Neptune, and then Pluto. It doesn't really count anymore. And then they're working. They think there's a 10th planet, Planet X, in the solar system that has a super long elliptical orbit that goes clear way the fuck out there.
That's cool.
And they're looking for it. They think that a lot of these asteroids that get flung in to come see us are coming from this planet. They think it's 4 or 5 times the size of Earth. So that's cool. They're looking for that. And then way out there is the Oort cloud, which is just unimaginably large cloud of rocks. There's huge. If our solar system was the size of, like, let's say, a ping pong ball, then the Oort cloud would be about the size of the Earth in scale. That's how big that cloud is.
That's crazy.
And it's just flinging rocks. So all day, just chucking those rocks. So back to Elon Musk and all. So what's he doing? He's got the largest solar manufacturing panel capacity in the world. He's building the
solar rooftop,
the Gigafactory, the home battery backup power system, Tesla, SpaceX. He's working on the hypertubes.
The Boring Company.
He's working on the hypertubes. You know what that is? Have you heard about that?
The hypertubes?
The hypertubes.
Is that not part of the Boring Company?
It's part of the Boring Company. It's basically underground vacuum tubes. Think of a subway, but in a vacuum.
Oh, really?
Okay, so that's the technical difficulty.
Air resistance?
No air resistance. So you can shoot these things at 1,000 miles an hour underground with no friction.
What's the base underneath? A magnet or friction?
I think it is hyperleved. I think it is a levitation system. They have like a 1 kilometer setup built. They're working on building a 10 kilometer setup out in, I think it's the New Mexico desert, somewhere out west. And they have other companies working on that too. So, on top of, getting humanity on another planet, he's also working on that.
Yeah.
So that's one human being. Now,
if we had another innovator to step in and fix all of the education and crime and other things.
If you just think about it, like humanity, step up your game. I mean, Elon Musk, one person he wasn't born rich, he wasn't born poor, he was born in South Africa.
Got lucky with that PayPal and other stuff.
He invented PayPal, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. This is one human being that has changed the scope and direction of the human race. One person. One human being.
And because of that, dude, you and I were 3.2 seconds, 0 to 60.
We were in a car that he designed. It's insane. Like, it's just, why don't we have more people like him doing more fantastic things? That's what I ask myself.
I bet he'll inspire. There's a whole
he's inspired me. Look how excited I am about him.
now.
I'm not smart enough to be the next Elon Musk. Honestly, I'm not that guy. But I know my limits.
I wouldn't limit yourself. You got to have the right circumstances and things to happen in the right order. It's a big thing of luck.
I'm not going to deny that there is a lot of luck. Like, he was lucky to. Really, he dropped out of college after 1 or 2 days in whatever he was studying. It was something with, I don't know if it was computers or I forget, but he dropped out of engineering, and then he moved to California. He invented PayPal.
Right.
That's insane. Like, he invented PayPal, and I forgot who I think he sold it to Amazon before it was a thing. I
don't know.
He sold it to somebody. Yeah, so that's luck. I'm not gonna say that's not luck, but he was in the right place at the right time, and he's smart enough, and he could have. He could have retired comfortably. He made like 20 or 30 million.
Yeah, he didn't get lazy.
He went right back to it and said, you know what, I'm gonna take all that money, pretty much all of it, and dump it into the next thing, which was Tesla. And that turned out pretty cool. We drove in it today. Like, that's insane.
I look forward to driving every day. Yeah. I hated driving before. I was like, you want to go to Chicago? I'm like, yeah, but you drive. Like, and that's an hour and something away. I hated driving that much. Now it's like, I gotta go to Home Depot. I forgot I need this
bag of
screw and a bolt.
I need to get out.
I'll be back.
So
safest car in the world, by the way.
Yeah, it is very. It got a 5.1 or something. It got more crash stars than it could get
in Australia, Europe, and America.
It got more.
Rated the highest.
It got more than they could give. How does that even work? Like, I don't even.
Their rating system's awful. It's like saying, like, all these key points you could rate 0 to 100, but they decided to limit it at 5. So of course everybody gets 5 stars, and that's why you have all these cars get 5 stars.
It should be 100. I think base 10, honestly.
But I bet if you broke it out, the Tesla would be like an 85, and all the other normal cars you see are like a 55.
Yeah, they would be death machines.
But of course, you like, let's do 5 points. That seems like a good idea.
A stupid number. It should be at least 10. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But then again, we have our own English counting system with the foot. Ugh, don't get me started on that. That's ridiculous. Why do we still have that? That's
at least
so
we learned
dumb.
hex and binary.
If we could just get to metric and be done with the damn thing. I mean, come on, seriously, it's so much easier. But that's a whole other tangent kind of.
I would be completely open. Maybe we're outliers here, but I'd be open to learning kilometers and
it's so much easier. Everything's based off of 10.
Yeah,
you just times it by 10. That's the next level. Oh, okay. And divide by 10. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Celsius is pretty dope.
I need a wrench. Well, it's 9/16.
Yeah,
of an
millimeters
inch.
are nice.
Oh, but it's 3/8. Wait, what is that? How much is 3/8? Okay, I need 10 millimeter. It's 10. Yeah. What's the next size smaller? 9.
Yeah.
So much easier.
Metric's great.
Metric is great. Everything, all the things. So maybe we can get to that. They've had Roscosmos. That's the Russian space program.
Okay.
They've had international collaboration on many different satellites to go to Mars, and one of them just crashed spectacularly because there was a conversion that wasn't done properly. They were building we were building shit off the English system. They were building it off the metric system.
That's how it goes.
It didn't work out well. So
the thing is people just stick to what they know, and the problem is like
it's pride and it's.
Are we going to decide like the whole world needs to speak English?
Because it's
never going to get that going.
No, and it's never going to happen, and it shouldn't. And it's pride and it's nationalism.
But you can't argue. Basically, the whole world is on the metric system.
It is.
Was it North America? Is Canada metric?
I don't know. They're kilometers too.
Oh my God! It's just the United States.
Literally just the United States.
That's pretty awful.
Because we're 250 years old, so we're going to do it our way.
Well, I mean, we're known as being kind of rebel badasses with all our guns.
We are.
I dare you to invade the United States.
I dare you to.
Because guns are everywhere.
It's not going to happen.
I tripped on a gun walking over to the microphone just now. America.
We do need to get off the system. We have to, but there's a lot of things that America in and of itself needs to fix.
Yeah.
And so one thing I think we are moving towards the right direction is the legalization of marijuana. That's happening. That's actually happening. I thought I would be much older before this happened. I was
very surprised when I found out this year. I was very
surprised that Illinois, this corrupt ass state, is actually
so broke,
as liberal as they are with the marijuana stuff coming through. So that I did not expect.
If they could just use those funds properly.
They're not going to. They're not going to use the funds properly. One of the problems with Illinois specifically is that we have 3 times the number of governing units that Texas does, and Texas has 3 times the number of people that we do. We have so much government. We have redundancy in government, like the overlap in all the government is ridiculous, and that's why we're broke. That's where most of the money is going, is to pay the pensions and the insurance and the people that work in the government.
Right.
And I feel free to work in the government. I don't hate you. I don't hate anybody. That's just a wasted emotion. But you're part of the problem, unfortunately. Government, unfortunately, exists to create and maintain government. That's what government does.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the only people that can change that is the government. So you kind of get this catch-22.
That's why I listened to Rage Against the Machine.
I listened to Rage Against the Machine when I was in high school. That was one of my favorite bands.
Oh,
it's just, fuck you, Greg. I won't do what you tell me, but
fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Do I think that
what you reap is what you sow?
It is what you sow. I do think, like, I have, so my kitchen, you have been there for a while. I have a framed 2 foot by 3 foot the Declaration of Independence, and I have a framed 2 foot by 3 foot Bill of Rights in my kitchen now.
Oh, that's cool.
And I read that shit. And if you read the original stuff, it's like, man, the Declaration of Independence, if you actually read it, is just basically one long run-on sentence of he's fucking this up, he's fucking that up, he's fucking the king. He's doing this, he's doing this. And they just rattle off like this list of all this terrible shit that they're tired of. They're like, we're done, bro. We are literally done.
Yeah.
So that's what the Declaration of Independence says. You know what? Fuck you. We're doing this thing. We got 13 of our states. Bring it, bro.
Right.
And he did, and they lost. So now we got America. So their original intent, if you can put your mindset into the founding fathers when they were writing, basically creating an entirely new form of government that had never existed on this planet before, which started on a Wednesday, by the way. It was a Wednesday.
Oh, that's cool.
Wednesday was the day that the government actually started in 1789. March 3rd, 1789 was the day they flipped the switch and said, okay, democracy, go.
Sweet.
And if you think about it from that frame set, from really there was just the feudal system, there was monarchy, there was communism-ish stuff back then. That was it. So this brand new, it was, for lack of a better word, revolutionary, because what they were called. It was a big deal, and it was a good system. They had the separation of government, they had the legislature, the judicial, the executive. It's a separation of power, which is the main thing, that not one person can have all the power. That people, the governing people, the Senate and the House of Representatives was a compromise between the states that had a lot of people versus states that had very few people, and said, well, we'll have the Senate where each state gets 2 people, but we'll have the House of Representatives that's based on population, but all the bills concerning money will start in the House of Representatives. So they had all these things. They had to figure this stuff out, and they did, and it works. But as time goes by, things change, technology changes, the scope of stuff that they couldn't even begin to think about changes. And then you need to have a government that changes with that. And they built in the framework to do that.
Yeah.
But it takes so many states to come together to say, hey, we're going to change this way of doing things. That we're so distracted with fake news and the media and all this hate stuff going on, all these things that exist. The reason we have all that stuff, the reason we have all the I hate you stuff, all the terrible things, all the stuff that you see on the TV, the reason that stuff exists is on purpose.
Right.
It's there to keep us separated, to keep us divided, and to keep us
unfocused.
That stuff. I don't watch the news.
You know why?
It's
because
poison.
in my life and all the people I've ever dealt with, I don't deal with hate. So why look at that fake,
it's just fake,
just murder porn, whatever it is.
It's there to enrage
awful.
you. It's there to get ratings. It's there to make you hate people. And that's what it's designed to do.
They give you ads on Facebook, and it's the most controversial stuff that gets you pissed off.
Because that's what gets the blood flowing. And you can't watch that stuff. It's brainwashing you. Because if that stuff didn't exist and we can all actually have a common dialogue where religion and ethnicity and gender didn't even have a say at the table, and it was just, wait a minute, maybe this isn't the right thing for humanity. Maybe climate change is bad.
See, the fact that we can't even get on board with that.
That's ridiculous. Climate change is like the number one thing that's going to fuck us.
Here's something that's in your face that's going to kill
in your
everybody.
face. It's going to happen. The longer we continue to burn oil and fossil fuels as a means, is just that's not the end game. If we know that stuff is the bad stuff, and we need to stop it sooner than later. And we have the technology to do that. We can we have the ability to use different types of energy to make nuclear power. We don't even have to do plutonium and uranium for nuclear power. There's thorium. It's one of the most abundant materials in the Earth's crust.
Yeah.
They've built these things. They've run them for decades in the 1960s. These things work.
Why don't they get attention?
We don't use these because they don't create fissile materials that we can use to blow people up.
Is that really it, though?
That's really it, though. They had to pick.
Is there legislation or laws?
There's nothing.
Is it
banning,
illegal to get thorium?
Nope, there's nothing.
So why don't smart people get it going?
Why doesn't Jeff Bezos build an actual commercial quality thorium reactor and say, "Look what I did, Elon! I created a whole new industry in clean power generation." It's something he could easily do.
Why doesn't Elon do it?
Elon's got a few things in the fire right now going on. Honestly, I think it would take about they estimated $1 to $2 billion of initial startup investment for infrastructure to get a commercial thorium reactor up and running. Which, in the scope of things, that's not a lot of money. $2 billion bucks, do it.
Right.
How much does
Apple? How much does that 500 times?
What's a stealth bomber run these days? $1 billion? I don't know. What the F-35 fighter is $35 million. So you don't have a few extra airplanes. The really neat thing about that is that the reactors themselves, just as a quick side note, they are designed to be fail-proof. Like, if they fail, they automatically shut down. That's just the way they work.
Yep.
And if you want to really learn about a thing, look up thorium reactor. It's pretty cool. It's very cool.
It's stair-stepping, right? That would definitely help us out.
It would be the next step into the ultimate, which is the fusion power, which we had a whole podcast talk about.
Right.
Which they're making some really cool leaps on that stuff.
We'll have to talk about that.
So that's coming. But anyways, so government in general, it needs to be fixed and amended over time. And I think the number one thing that if I could pick a thing, Greg, that I think would be beneficial to democracy and our republic, the number one thing I could if I could make it happen to be a game changer, and I'll wrap it up with this, is that if we could have term limits for all politicians in the same way we have for the president.
Right.
Essentially, not even having the ability to be reelected. You get elected, cool. You got 4 years. Get shit done, and then you're out. Yeah. And the next person comes in with their ideas, and they get their shit going too.
And then the public gets to vote at the end of your term.
Yeah.
And then you get 5 different tiers of how much pension or money you get at the end.
Absolutely. Nothing's guaranteed for your pay. You don't get the golden blanket. Did you do a good job? Did you do the things that you said you were going to do when we elected you? Yes, no. Here's your grade card.
Yeah.
That would be very, very simple. And the thing is, we can do that. We can ratify the Constitution and the amendments to do that, but I don't know the exact numbers. I think we need like 67% or something of the states to get together and agree on something, which get 2 states to agree on a thing. Are you kidding me? You're going to get, 30 of them? That's ridiculous.
It is.
So, but it's built in there, and they did build that in. Do I think that, the founding fathers could envision what we have now? They had 13 states. That's it. Illinois didn't exist. It's ridiculous. We control the entire continent now. That's insane. We crossed it that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But we have the power to do that, and I don't think that, honestly, I don't think we're gonna do that. Unfortunately, we don't have the focus or the educated population to do that, because that's another thing. We're not educated enough on purpose.
Yeah.
All the things that are holding us back from our potential, all the things that really would help humanity really reach for the stars and become a multi-planet species, it's built into the system. The uneducated population, the hate speech on the media, the not funding of the climate change research, the not building the nuclear reactors that are sustainable. All of these things are on purpose, and it's because of money, really. And again,
I think it's just because of a shitty system.
It's not necessarily the government. The government is at the behest of the corporations, and it all comes back to the money.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that too. So until our society gets away from money in general, I have this paper I can give to you for the things. I have more paper, I get more things. Until we get away from that entire structure, I don't think any of the things I've laid out will ever change. So
I'm hoping things do.
They will change.
I'm going to remain positive.
It's
hard.
It's the people like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
It's the outliers, the 6 Sigma, 7 Sigma people that are just so far off from normal, that are just able to get things done, that humanity moves forward, and I honestly think in leaps and bounds. It'll just stagnate for 100, 1,000 years, 100 years, 50 years, 10 years, and it gets to the point where someone comes along and says, you know what, I have the ability and the resources to make a difference, and I want to, and they do.
Right.
And that's what they do. They take humanity, I don't want to just say America, but they take humanity kicking and screaming to the next level.
Yep.
And that's the way it's going to work. It's going to take the individual person, and that's, we have 350 million people in the United States right now, roughly. It takes one person to say, you know what, I can do better than this, and I'm going to. And the hope is that he inspires the next generation of people to do all the wonderful things that they can do.
I hope so.
I do too. I really do.
All it takes is some kind of new internet platform or something that gets these like-minded people together. Yep. We can band up and be like, let's not give a crap. Let's advance.
Let's do
humanity.
a thing. Let's actually do a thing. And I think Elon knows that. And I think that's one of the reasons he's doing the things that he's doing. I think in 50 years, when we look back at history, hopefully we'll both be alive around then. We can look back and we'll look back and be like, Einstein's pretty cool. Yeah, but Elon,
right?
He changed the game.
Right. I like this fake star we have now that we got the Dyson sphere.
We literally can encircle our own star with all the energy collection and free energy for all. Literally, it's coming. So yeah, it's a big deal what Elon's doing, and if you don't pay attention to Elon, that's really your loss, because he's doing so many things for humanity that you don't even know. Yeah. It's not until you see it drive by you on the street and you're like, wait a minute, where'd that car come from?
He's doing so much positive, and just like with anybody, you focus on the positive and you don't give a crap about anything negative.
He's like, I'm going to do the shit, and yeah, he is, and he's. For as much attention as he's getting and as much money as he has and the things that he's doing, for him to be able to be focused and be like, screw you guys, all you haters are going to hate, I'm going to do my thing. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
You could easily get sidetracked or dragged down a dark hole with the stuff that you have to put up with, but I think it invigorates him. I think it energizes him. The challenge is what really drives him.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, we're at hour and 18.
Oof.
So I feel like we're caught up enough that we can have a set thing like the old podcast.
I like
before,
that.
So.
Awesome. Greg, it's been wonderful.
It's been great.
I'm super hungry. I probably should eat something. So
yeah.
Okay.
Sugar. All right.
Signing off. He gone.